Guys, welcome to part 9 of the series, and this is where we left off in the last video. We have our breathing animation, we have our running animation, we have our jumping, and our falling. Now let's just collect our last coin and hit our goal, move on to the next level. So we're basically gonna pick right back up. So I have my Gemini pulled up, and if you remember from the last video, we went with option A. So we kept our multiple option in the animation here, sprite mode, instead of going to single, and we decided to set the pixel size to 32 by 32 and click slice instead of changing the sprite mode to single. So let's let Gemini know that. I went with option A, keep multiple, and then let them know that all these steps are also complete. These steps are also complete. To the animation clips, step 3. Set up the animation animator states and parameters. And step 4, create the transition logic. Step 5, also update the script. And the transitions look great. Yeah. The player is animated while moving, jumping, falling, and idle. Okay, we now have built a rock solid foundation, fully animated character. Now that Masty's visual polish is locked in, what mechanic do we want to tackle next? Should we go with implementing a double jump? Maybe. Character flipping instead of moonwalking backward. Should we make sure that Mass Dude faces the left when running left? So I'll go with character flipping first. Let's go with the character flipping. The easiest way to do this in Unity is to check the direction of your horizontal input inside your script and flip the sprite render component's horizontal flip property, which is flip X. So here is how to update our script. And let's just follow along this two-step process here. So let's go back to our so we're back in Unity, and we have to go to player controller scripts. So back to assets, scripts, player controller, and we're gonna go back to our update function right here, and we're gonna flip the character sprite. So we're going to call this function flip sprite. So right here, we're calling flip sprite, and this function doesn't exist yet. So we're gonna copy the function over from Gemini, which is right here, and paste it in our code. All it does is if moving right, face right, and if moving left, face left. So horizontal input is more than zero point 0.1 f. Horizontal input is less than negative zero point 0.1 f. Then sprite render to flip x is false if it's more, and it's true if it's less than negative 0.1. Save the script and then move on to step 2. So back to Unity. No, actually not back to Unity. Let's do this. To make sprite render FlipX work, you need to reference the component at the top of your script and grab it in the awake, just like you did with the animator. So add the variable under your private variable and initialize in your awake function. So let's do that. So add the variable under other private variables. That right there should be good. And we're gonna initialize it in awake function right there. Save the script, go back to Unity, wait for it to compile, and hit play. I think it's gonna work. So right is exactly working as expected, but the question is it gonna flip when I click left? Yes. Look at that. That is clean. Very cool. Yeah. Oh no. Anyways, it was a simple process. Yes. Flipping feels smooth and responsive. So this part's already done, so it doesn't even know where we're at. So let's let Gemini know that we already have coin collection logic implemented. Seems like you forgot. Um, I am fine with implementing the double jump, but I was thinking that should be a feature that's unlocked after we get some sort of power up, after we opponent in the level instead of having it from the get-go. You know what I'm saying? We need like some sort of a power up that comes in contact with our player for him to unlock that double jump feature. And then, you know, I hope that makes sense. So should we still go ahead with, what do you think of the idea? Is it too, okay, maybe what do you think of the idea? And should we still go ahead with the implementation double jump logic? Or should we polish up the rest of the level from basic shapes to actual art? Okay, yeah, he's apologizing for forgetting that we already have our coin collection logic in there. Yeah, so he also agrees. I mean, everything I say, Gemini always agrees. Um, making an unlockable power up instead of giving it away at the start creates a great sense of progression. We should definitely implement the core double jump logic now, but keep it locked behind a has double jump up power up Boolean variable that switches to true only when the player triggers a collision with a specific power up item. That being said, substituting the rest of the placeholder geometry for actual art is an incredibly satisfying step. Right now, your screen is a mix of an animated mask dude running around on top of a flat, basic white tile blocks and floating yellow circles. Since you've imported Pixel Adventure 1 pack, you actually already have a beautiful, complete environment tile set sitting in your project files waiting to be used. What sounds like more fun right now? Environmental polish or power up logic? I think I'll go with polish. Let's just get the basic, decently looking art in place, and then we can add like more power up logics, more items, and more. I'm thinking a environment polish, and then once we have a basic, good looking level one completed, we can think of adding the power up logic and maybe level the subsequent level forward. Your opinion on this? Okay, so polishing level one gives us a finished asset you can feel proud of and look for visual motivation. So we need to grab the artwork for the ground and background. So let's follow these two steps. So we're going to import the environment assets and set up our tile palette. Okay, so step one, import the environment assets. Open the package manager window. So window, package manager, package management, package manager. And we are going to select Pixel Adventure 1, and we're going to click import. Where's the import button? It's already imported. So in project, re-import maybe, since, hey, and now we're going to click none, and we're going to select terrain. Main characters, we don't need main characters. We don't. Do we need background? Yeah, we do need background. So let's check the background box. And let's check the terrain box. The terrain right there. Background and terrain, and click import. Make sure all the other ones are unchecked. So yeah, it looks good to me. Import. And we're gonna close this window and go to step two, which is set up our tile palette. So follow these steps. So open our tile palette window, tile palette on the right. And we're going to go back to our project window, go to assets, art. Okay, it's not in there. Where could it be? Pixel Adventures. Yep. So we're gonna go to assets here. We're gonna cut these two folders from here and move them to art. So just Control X there and Control V here, and we're gonna delete the Pixel Adventures folder. And this is not part of Gemini instructions. It's just my own uh, way of doing things to make my project structure clean. So now we're gonna go into terrain, and we're gonna select the main terrain sprite sheet, usually named terrain 16 16. So yes, this is the one. Before dragging it in, we're gonna check its inspector settings to make sure it matches our pixel perfect rule. So sprite mode would be, go back to inspectors. Sprite mode is multiple. Pixels per unit is 16. And filter mode is point. Filter mode is point, no filter. Compression is none. All set. And click apply. Done. And now we're going to slice it via grid size. Slice it by grid size. So go back to your sprite editor. Slice. Type should be grid by cell size. Pixel size should be 16 by 16. And filter mode should be point. Oh, wait a second. 16 by 16. And hit apply. So once we slice it, we're going to click apply. And now we have our individual slices of our terrain. And now let's close, exit out, and go to step 5 here. Create a new palette in our tile palette window and drag your slice terrain sheet directly into the grid space to generate your new printable tiles. So create a new palette in your tile palette window. Tile palette. Create a new palette. So click on main palette, select create new tile palette, and we're gonna name this level 1 terrain. Um, and just create. And we're gonna save it in our, where should we save this terrain? You know, this step, I think it should be broken down a little bit further. Could you provide step by step for instructions? Because it requires, or I can say, for example, where should I save the terrain, etc. This is should I just paste it in assets slash art slash terrain folder. Da, 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 da. Okay, so it wants me to create another folder in our terrain folder named tiles. And then okay, so let's just run through these three steps. So in our terrain folder, we're gonna do a new folder. Name this tiles, and we're going to select this folder. So on the step two, open your tile palette window. We already did. Click the drop down button. We did. We named our level one terrain instead of the main. After clicking on the main palette. Okay, and now we're going to just select this folder here. And now we're gonna generate the paintable tile. So in our project window, locate our slice terrain spreadsheet texture, which is right here. All our terrain frames or arts. So left click and drag the entire terrain asset file from our project window, which is this step right here, and drop it directly into the big empty grid of our tile palette window. Okay, so I guess I can do this. And we're gonna save it in our tiles folder. See what happens. All done. So got our tiles looking pretty nice. All right, so now Gemini know our palette is populated and visible. And see where it takes us. Should I drop a screenshot as well? Maybe. That never hurts, right? So now we want to replace our white block layout with this art without breaking our current layout boundaries or colliders. So check. Let's follow along these two steps. Step one, check our target settings. So look at the top of your tile palette window on the right. Ensure the active tile map drop down is explicitly set to tile map. It is. That seems like the only option is also. So this ensures you're painting directly onto your existing grid layer that handles your ground collisions. All right, so step two is swap the tiles with the eraser and brush. Because your existing white shapes are baked onto the tile map, you can paint over them or clear them out. So select the eraser tool. The top of the toolbar of the tile palettes eraser. We got to go back to the scene view for this. And can we do we have to erase it? Can we just do the painting? What is going on? Why can I not? Anyway, I'll just select this, and can I just paint directly on top? Yeah, we can. So let's do that. Right, yeah, it looks like we can just, and so we don't have to erase these. We can just paint directly on top. So let's go with these guys and quickly. All right, let's just go with the middle one. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Maybe this one should be this or this. And maybe this one should be this. And just yeah, this doesn't look too bad. Let's move it. Just do the edge tiles first. So we'll do this guy here. And just doing the paintings and the middle ones. Got some ground. Cool. Ooh, it should be this one. All right. Move this and add those guys. And I think it looks pretty good. All right. Okay, now let's test it out. Look at that level. It looks so much cleaner. This is great. This feels like a real game now. Woohoo. And you know what? I'm gonna change these edge tiles to maybe these ones. So let's do that. This. Okay. Does this look good? This maybe? And then this. Um, this is not bad. Yeah. And we can do this over here maybe. I mean, that's the perfectionist in me, just trying to make it look as polished as possible, but we don't really have to go through all that trouble. Okay, and here. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, I like it. You gotta use the on-screen. Just collect those coins. Oh no, it's very difficult to do it using mouse clicks. Yeah, basically impossible to collect these with mouse clicks. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. And we're already at half-hour mark, so I'm gonna end this video here and pick up um, in the next one. See you guys.